The four aspects of battle once lived together in harmony, but everything changed when the ranking man attacked. What's up, guys? Elephant here, and here we want to do a breakdown / discussion and ranking of the four aspects of battle, the four separate types of stats. You know what I'm talking about: the power, the durability, the speed, and the hacks of the Jujutsu Kaisen, and which ones are the most important to the least important, but backwards. We're gonna rank the stats from the weakest of their applicability in battle in Jujutsu Kaisen to their strongest. Now, typically, I wouldn't actually separate power and durability, but JJK is a unique case where your durability can be completely different from your power, and your power can be completely different from your durability, and a little bit of stuff in between. So let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into number 4. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me, and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. Yeah, durability kind of whack, especially in the context of JJK. Don't get me wrong. Let me say this out the gate. There's not a single stat in Jujutsu Kaisen that's absolutely worthless. I'm not saying you should spec into 0 durability, or 0 speed, or 0 power, or 0... No, I'm not saying that. But, like, if you had to lowball one, if you had to pick one out of the 4, I have to say it's durability. And here's the thing, right? We have a bunch of super duper uber juper bulky characters within the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, Ryu Ishigori and Yuta Kotsu are 2 of the bulkiest characters in the entire series. You can make a pretty solid argument that, like, logistically speaking, Ryu Ishigori is just flat the bulkiest character in the entire series based on his whole highest output statement, and how even Ryomen Sukuna goes on to glaze his durability and his toughness, something he doesn't do for Yuta Kotsu, he doesn't do for Yuji Todori, he doesn't do for anybody else. And yeah, that's nice, but, like, does durability win you fights? Does it? Does it really? Like, here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. We see Yuta Kotsu be an absolute stamina beast against someone like Ryu Ishigori, who does crazy amounts of output to him, but Yuta's able to tank him and eat him and not absolutely get vaporized by Ryu's attacks and stuff like that based on his raw durability. Of course, Ryu Ishigori is unbelievably tanky, being able to exchange blows with Yuta Kotsu, who, with his physicals, can tear through cursed spirits, can tear through high-level sorcerers, can tear through some special grades, and he's able to do all that with his insane durability. Heck, we literally see Ryu Ishigori get smacked around by all different types of things, including his own attacks, and he's managed to eat them with his own durability. That's really, really good, and don't get me wrong, we have other durability-based characters in this series, such as, ironically enough, our big bad at the moment, Ryomen Sukuna. He's kind of a durability man when you look at him. He's very notorious for kind of just eating up everything. From point-blank reds, which he uses domain amplification to neutralize, or at least soften a little bit, to literal red backshots from explosive reds that he tanks off guard, even to massive black flashes straight to the chest. Durability is clearly very, very important. But at the same time, you tell me, what's better? The ability to tank numerous attacks, yet do no damage back? Or just the ability to do a bunch of damage without having to deal with getting hit? Personally, it's always going to be the latter, and JJK is a big example of that, at least in my opinion. A lot of the characters who, like, do or rely on just face tanking or damage eating or gobbling up everything that gets thrown at them kind of don't do too much. Like, let's take a look at Akari Kinji, right? Like, clearly an extremely bulky character. Even Kashimo Hajime, in his own way, is an extremely bulky character. But, like, we see them engage, and ultimately, remember how this battle ends? Kind of neutral. The two kind of, despite their insane durability and insane offensive power that we're going to talk about in a little bit, they kind of don't do much to each other. Because you kind of can't do much to each other, because your durability's that high. And of course, Akari's holding back to a degree in this fight, and even Kashimo tends to hold back when he's trying to at least specifically get to the Immortal Man, not the Mortal Man. But still, the fact that this is the case, and we see these characters exchange blows, while it leads to cool fight choreography, and I do think ultimately having durability as a massive aspect of the series is important, and it allows for fights to go on for as long as they have, especially with how hacked out the verse is, it don't necessarily mean much, especially when you run into an issue like Akari ran into, such as Kashimo's lightning bolts, which just ate through his durability like nobody's business. And that's the other reason why I kind of have to have durability as the lowest. a lot of the other stats, whether it be power, whether it be speed, whether it be hacks, especially, you're going to see that later, it's kind of bad in durability's case. Like, whether or not you believe Akari Kenji is one of the most durable characters in the verse or is absolute tissue paper, his durability kind of never matters because a bunch of the other aspects and stats, whether it be speed of attacks or power of attacks or hacks of attacks, they kind of just all, like, absolutely annihilate him. And in verse, there are a bunch of characters who specifically have tools in their kits meant to hard counter durability. Think of Cleave. Think of Purple. Think of the Soul Split Katana. Think of Yuji's soul targeting punches. Think of Mahito. Think of numerous characters. Heck, you could argue Kashima's lightning bolts. All of them exist to undermine durability. Sure, it's there, and it's always annoying. You don't want to have to deal with a durable character in JJK. The reason the manga's still going on is because Sukuna is freakishly durable. But outside of that, if Sukuna didn't have overwhelming power and he was just, like an Akari, a big old sponge, man, he wouldn't be half of a threat. No one would be gone by now. It's because of the other aspects of the verse that he's managed to do as crazy as he has. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should spec into zero durability, but at the same time, if you could spec in other stats, do that. Don't just spec into durability. And one of the clearest examples I can think of is Yuji Itadori. Undeniably, insanely, top of the line, bulky, with a capital B-U-L-K-Y. But notorious for doing basically zero damage against the people he wants to do big damage against. It takes him forever to mow down through Mahito, it takes him forever to mow down through Sukuna, because a lot of his stats are placed in durability and resistances and stuff like that. And that's really, really unfortunate, because a bunch of characters have either a way to work around that, or ultimately it leads to other stats being lacking. So big slobber knocks like this, when the King of Curses, who's currently being nerfed, barely do anything. But overall, that's why I gotta put durability in last. Too many things in the verse counter it. Too many things in the verse override it. Too many things in the verse are better off than durability, at least in terms of a fight, especially if you're building your own character or building your own stat sheet. The last thing you really want to invest in is durability. But of course, that's just number 4. What could hypothetically be number 3? You know what time it is. It's time to talk about them games. You know we gotta put power at number 3. Now, here's the thing. Unlike durability, power is almost always useful. And the one stat you kind of... in a way, I guess you could arguably build a zero power build. But, we know Curse energy output and, Curse technique output is based on your power. And if that gets lowered, even your other hacks and hypothetically speed get affected. So power is always needed, but it's still number 3. Now why? Why is it above durability? Because you can do crazy things with power. Once again, going back to my GOAT, my slept-on king, the possible bulkiest character and possibly hardest hitting character without hacks in the entire verse, Ryuichi Goatri manages to completely compromise and override Yuta Kotsu, aka another one of the bulkiest characters in the entire series, whole durability stat sheet, by simply overpowering him, smacking him with these crazy levels of force. And that's, once again, that's what puts it above durability, because you can always compromise it with enough raw power. And power is what allows for a lot of the top tiers to be top tiers. Think of the strongest characters in JJK. Think of your Gojos, think of your Sukunas, think of, I guess at this point, really now, your Yujis, your Yutas. I know Yuta's above Yuji. Please, Yuta fans, don't attack me. But, still, think of all the heaviest hitting characters in the verse. What is one of their most peaked out stats? It's power. Power no matter what. And one of the biggest things that a lot of the later aspects are used to hard counteract is power. Because power is something that's kind of non-negotiable in JJK. Either you have it or you don't. We even see this as a massive aspect of the fight I already mentioned, Hikari versus Kashima, where we see the two ultimately go band for band, bang for bang, with overall raw power, because that's what they need to contest each other. Unlike with durability, you can win a fight with raw power. And usually it's other aspects that we're going to talk about in a little bit that allow you to override or counteract or redirect or ignore power in one way, shape, and or form. It's the power that Kashima has access to through his lightning bolts that allows him to tear through Akari Kenji when his regular hits don't. It's the raw power of Ryu Shigoi's granite blast that allow him to take off Yuta's hands when his regular attacks don't. It's the overwhelming, insane strength of the King of Curses that allows him to essentially raffle stomp the entire verse. Remember, A lot of the strength of Sukuna comes from his raw power. Of course, his durability is still very, very important, but a lot of it is straight raw juice, straight raw gains. This is power that tears through Yuji Tadori, who's tweaking off 7 black flashes simuldomain. And ain't nothing to do with Sukuna's durability. Power is always on the offense. Power is always driving through. Power is basically always required. Even if you don't want to highly spec your character into something in JJK, you have to put at least some points into power. Because power kind of feeds into everything, but not too much. Obviously, there's cursed energy amounts, there's cursed energy outputs, things that are like set at birth or set over various time periods. And similarly enough, power is one of the few things you kind of can't buff. Like, you could hypothetically get faster, but notably, Sukuna seems to just believe that durability is the one thing you can increase with cursed energy reinforcement. He never knows anything about speed. He never knows anything about power. But still, even with its lack of ability to get buffed, it's still that power. You still need it. You need the girth. You need the gains. Of course, Yuki Tsukumo, who is a character who's either in top 15 or top 10, she's no longer in top 5. Alright, I know. Kenny's scaling got saved, but Yuki's scaling not. She's not in top 5. I'm not taking it. I'll give you top 10, maybe. I wouldn't put her there. But still, what is her whole gimmick? Raw, overwhelming power. And it's useful. Heck, ironically enough, this probably should have taken off Kenny's head. And that's the thing. Power is always useful. There are rare cases when it's not, and we're going to talk about those rare cases. But overall, a technique that just gives mass and virtual mass to hits and a specific target is still one of the most dangerous techniques in the entire series. Star Rage is cracked, and it's literally just more power. It does nothing else. It does nothing else except for, like, sometimes they get concepts on attack, and it does nothing for your defense, it does nothing for your speed, nothing like that. It is just pure raw power, and it's still dangerous to the point where Big Jaku's like, nah. I ain't really trying to deal with you like that for real. So hold on, I got this. And he drops a domain expansion. So power is always that top of the line juicy stat. And power is what allows for things to get absolutely crazy, absolutely buku bonkers. Without power, Yuta Okoto was not tearing out Ryoma Tsukuna's tongue. Without power, he was not tearing out Ryoma Tsukuna's mouth. Without power, he wasn't tearing off Ryoma Tsukuna's arm. It's that power. It's that strength. It's the ability to strike down your opponents that obviously is going to matter a lot in a battle manga. Like, I don't think I have to convince too many people that, but still, the fact that power is so universal, it's so overwhelming, and it's the one stat you kind of do need, regardless, outside of, like, the 2 stats we have yet to mention. But still, power is fantastic, and it's something that every single top tier has in spades. If you're ever going to see moments where characters are lacking, think of your Nanamis, think of your Nabitos, think of your Naoyas, think of your pre-awakening Makis, think of your post-awakening 8 Black Flashes Yuji, think of any character and what they're lacking, it's probably going to be power. If you give them more power, then they could probably go a little bit crazy. Of course, there's another stat you could hypothetically, just pour stat points into it and could go crazy, but still, we'll talk about that stat in a bit. But power is all. So that's why I had to give power a juicy, hefty, scrumdiddlyumptious number 3. But if it's so important, if it's so universal, if it's so overwhelming and almighty, why is it only 3? What could even be number 2? Yeah, you know what time it is. You know what time it was. Come on now, don't play with me. You know we gotta put speed at number 2. Here's the thing about both power and durability. If you can't move, or you can't land your attacks, dog, it don't matter how durable you are, one way or another, you're gonna get torn down. I could have an attack of 1 and a speed of 1,000. If you have a speed of 2, an attack of 3 million, if you ain't never hit me, one way or another, my boy, you going down. And JJK is a verse that heavily, and I mean heavily, slops off its speedsters. Look at Naoya, right? This is a demon god, apparently not fully healed, a demon god Yuji, and he's just casually 1v2ing him and Choso. Why? Off pure speed, not pure velocity. The right amount of velocity will always get you right. Don't let anyone tell you different. That right amount of speed can go absolutely crazy. Another case where speed kind of rules all. The original. Forget the son. What about the big daddy? Look at Naruto and how he's casually walking circles around Dagon, in spite of Dagon's overwhelming durability. Note what Nanami immediately realizes. Darn, this thing built mad bulky, no damage, or rather, feels like its HP is boundless. darn, that's crazy, bro. Boundless HP, such high durability. That's insane. Maybe you just need more durability. Maybe durability is the answer. Maybe it's the way, Pencil. Maybe you're sleeping just a teeny tiny little bit. Oh, wait. You see what happens when Naobito actually gets a little bit active? Oh, yeah. Dagon literally can't do anything. Bro gets absolutely body bagged and annihilated. Tries to escape. Sorry, broski, your speed too low. Let me knock you in the ground real quick. Let me punch you in the mouth real quick. Let me punch you in the mouth again real quick. Let me give you a wombo combo real quick. Like, legitimately, speed is what you need. No matter what. Don't get me wrong. Power is extremely important. It's a universal stat. You always want to have some power stored up in your bank. You don't want to sell all your power stocks. You need them. You need them. But ultimately, you can have the power to one-shot a character. But if you're never going to hit that character, what does that power matter? Think about it. Think about it like this. Dagon, if he did not have Domain, which deletes the speed stat, which admittedly does reduce it to 0 based on the efficacy of sure hits, he was never going to beat Naobito, despite clearly being more powerful than him. Based on what we see in Domain, based on what we see outside of Domain, based on the water he produces, based on the island in the Domain, everything power-wise and durability-wise, Dagon had over Naobito. But you can clearly see Naobito had to resort to Domain for a reason. He simply was not built like that for real. It's unfortunate. And the disparity continues. Look at the difference. Now, don't get me wrong, Kamo isn't necessarily a powerhouse, not necessarily a speedster, but now he's out here pulling out crazy numbers, crazy work on pure speed alone. Pure speed alone. And that speed is what matters most, because it facilitates almost everything else. Think of why Ryomen Sukuna is so overwhelmingly powerful. It's not just the fact that he has a bunch of raw power, but it's the fact that he can perception blitz anybody on command. Like literally anybody, like anyone in the verse, gosh darn it, except for like maybe Gojo. If he really feels like it, and they're immediately blitzed. What's one of the reasons that Gojo's so dangerous? What's one of the reasons why his blue is so crazy? It's because it amps his speed. Because the speed facilitates everything else. Honestly, you can make a decent argument for speed being number 1, but once again, we're specifically going by JJK standards. And while speed is extremely important in JJK and allows for the facilitation of everything else, and sort of allows characters to just run circles around each other, and even if they have perfectly valid ways of damaging their opponent, enough speed can completely override that ability to damage, as we see in the Naoya fight against Maki, and then we see, obviously, countered back when the Naoya fight is over. But, with that being the case, speed dominates even the highest tier of battles. This is the battle between the number 1 and number 2 in the verse. I don't think there's any contention about that. While Goto may come in and go absolutely crazy and Boku Bonkers and shift up the power level of the verse just a little bit more, I think it's pretty solid that Gojo and Sukuna are the mightiest. And whether or not you feel that Sukuna is holding back stats or not, still, we see what happens when someone has a definitive edge in speed. When all else is made equal, but there's that slight gap in speed, look what occurs. Domain expansion, 1 second late, bada bing, bada boom. Speed kind of controls the flow of everything in a battle. Without speed, you kind of can't use your power. Without speed, your durability is going to get worn down eventually. There's only one man in the entire series who has literal infinite cursed energy, and that would be... Actually, 2. Actually, kind of 3. Kind of 3. I guess because, like, Six Eyes User and Gojo, Rika, who has literally Boundless, and Yuta, who technically has Boundless through proxy of Rika, and Jack Padakari. But with enough speed, you can override all that. It don't matter if they have what it takes to have all the power, all the durability, all that in the world. If you have enough raw speed, little bro, they can't do anything to you. And I think that's the most important part. Speed doesn't just act as a facilitator for raw damage, considering you can just get out more attacks before your opponent can, as we see time and time again throughout every case. Like, literally look at Sukuna perception blitzing Maki, and then preventing her from getting her attacks off to immediately slam her through a building. Like, it's clear. It's absolutely clear that speed allows you to prevent certain attacks, but it also allows you to go on a crazy offensive. Sukuna, a speedster, despite his massive bulky size, is able to override characters through pure speed alone. And the ability to just delete someone off the map before they can do anything, before they can take access of their power, before they can take access of their durability, is perfect. I hate to say it, because it sounds like absolute dumb gamer strats, but if you can hit your opponent more times than they can hit you, because you have better frame data, because your attacks come out quicker because of better frame data, because you simply hit the buttons quicker, you're going to win more than your opponent. Why do you think in almost every single fighting game out there, the best characters aren't the heavies? They have all the power in the world, right? All that durability, all that life. You know who the best characters are? The speedsters. Because they'll do damage. Even if it ain't that much damage, they'll do it. And they'll do it over time enough that the heavies could never compete. You can go from Smash Bros. To Fighters, to Guilty Gear, to Street Fighter. You can go anywhere. There's some top tier heavies, but still, you can go anywhere. And you will always see that speed typically reigns supreme. But in Jujutsu Kaisen, of course, there is but one stat, one section, one aspect of battle that reigns above even speed. And honestly works very well in conjunction with speed. So you know exactly what that is. But still, let's hop right into number 1. I mean, like what'd you think it was? What'd you think? This is JJK we're talking about. When you go to JJK and you're trying to bring it up in a cross-verse sense, are you really bringing up its overwhelming raw power? Like, there are ways to get the verse to planetary, but, like, there are ways also to get, like, I don't know, 7 millisecond out reversal. You don't do that. You know, you're bringing up its overwhelming speed. You're bringing up its underwhelming speed. Like, sure, we have things that could make it light speed, or the first could cap at Mach 3. Like, we really could go crazy on the speed. The durability, it kind of falls under the power range. Sure, these characters can eat crazy things, like someone face tanks a black hole, but they face tank the black hole through what? Through what? Why is Gojo Satoru one of the most popular characters in versus debates and can beat characters way out of his pay grade? It ain't because he's the fastest guy around. It ain't because he's got the most raw power in the universe or anything like that. It ain't even because he's the most bulky guy this side of the Mississippi. It's because of them thick, them juicy, them scrumdiddlyumptious, hefty, and delicious hacks. Of course, JJK is a verse that is so hacks-based that its main character that transcends it and goes into the cross-verse discussions is entirely in those discussions because of its hacks. Whether it be the biggest one, the heftiest one, the Infinity itself, or Domain Amplification, which shuts off techniques, or Soul Split Katana, which negates durability, or Yuta's Compi ability, or Kenjaku's body. Like, there's so many different things that characters all do that are solely based around their hacks, and the hacks are what allow you to override and negate pretty much all the previous stats. Obviously, the biggest and most notable hacks, I'd say pretty much in the verse. Like, I'm not sure, maybe there's some people who are really going to stand, like, the copy ability, I guess. I'm not sure what else you would value higher than the Infinity. The Infinity, more than even Domain Expansion, is what allowed Gojo to go and do numbers in terms of every single debate ever, just because of, hey, can your character bypass this? Oh no. Oh wow, your character's multiplanetary. That's a shame. They break physics? Oh, bound by it? Not looking good for you, my G. That's what allows it. The power, the speed, and the durability of all things can be negated by good enough hacks. For different examples, obviously. Yuta Okotsu, a notorious freaky deaky hacks beast. Because he just takes hacks. He uses Earl Sky Manipulation, the bending of space, in order to beat Ryu Ishigori and drop his own thing on his head, plus negating his durability, negating the worst stat in JJK, by using Thin Icebreaker, and then dropping his own attack right in his dome piece. Oh, would you look at that? Yuta Okotsu gets what over Kenjaku? A massive, crazy, next level, top tier, top of the line, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious dub. Because of what? 2 hexes. 1, Takaba coming in there and scrambling Kenjaku's brain, and 2, what we now know, Yuta Okotsu getting a nice little calm little sis by Todo Aoi, who is what? A hacks beast with Boogie Woogie. Oh, would you take a look at this? Is that Cursed Spirit Manipulation? You know, the hacks that basically allows you to get infinite hacks from other things that have a myriad of hacks? Wow, that's absolutely buku bonkers. Heck, I got glazed over it. Takaba's ability in of itself, the comedian, is stupidly hacks. That's why it's one of the best. Because it just allows you to do anything as long as you find it funny. Stupid. Absolutely crazy, but that's reality warping. That's really, really good. It doesn't matter how fast you are. We see this with Kenjaku. Takaba is not a combatant. It ain't matter though, even though Kenjaku's undeniably a top 10, easily top 5 character in the verse, yeah, it don't matter. Because he got out hacks. And it'd be like that when it'd be like that sometimes. Oh, look what happened to a certain individual. They got their whole body jacked. Through what? Hacks. Them hacks go absolutely crazy. They bring out things you could never do before, that you could never dream before. And of course, one of the most notorious hacks ever that once again deletes the second best stat in the series is domain expansions of themselves. Oh no, are you having trouble hitting your opponent? Do you have a domain? Don't worry, buddy. As long as that thing has a lethal sure hit, you're good. It covers everything. It covers every single base. That's why I have to put hacks at number 1 and like by a clear margin. Power and durability, there's like a sizable gap. Power and speed, there's another sizable gap because you can run into speed and durability issues. You can run into power and speed issues. You can run into power and durability. Like you can run into certain issues with that in JJK. But like in JJK, if your hacks are good enough, you can leap way higher than you should. Just because your hacks are good enough. Oh, you can negate durability? Okay, slide up a couple spots. Oh, you are unable to be touched by any means necessary. Oh, okay. Move up a few spots. Realize the battle between Gojo and Sukuna goes on for so long because Sukuna literally couldn't use a majority of his kit, including the one he had acquired specifically to fight Sawtooth Gojo because of one hacks in the Infinity. Not went on that long because of that. Because of one ability. That's how important hacks are. If you do not have an answer to a hack, sorry, bro, it's how to spread your intros across the 9 realms. And unfortunately, this comes with no payback. I'm sorry, my G. Allow me to spread it. And bada bing, bada boom, you get spread across the 9 realms. That's the thing. Hacks basically allow for everything. Because they can kind of do everything, too. Notably, if you need durability, no, you don't. If you have the Infinity, your durability could be 0, and it doesn't matter. Oh, you need raw power? Don't you worry. We have Cleave, which auto-adjusts to the durability. You don't need to worry about raw power. That'll be overridden. No one will be able to do anything when their durability is reduced to 0. Oh, you need to overcome a massive speed gap? Hey, don't worry, we got Blue. Blue will carry you around a little bit. It'll help you, support you, put you on its back. Hacks do everything. If you are lacking in one thing and we give you hacks, you will be fine. Maki Zenin and Toji Fushiguro have relatively garbage AP. They have very few feats of damaging anyone with just their raw fists. Anything of note, at least. Dagon's the best they got. But with Soul Split Katana, boop, that's a hacks. And the durability does not matter. Oh no, the raw, overwhelming power of certain characters, that's crazy. Hollow Purple. Need I say more? But, of course, that is my view. That is my ranking on the 4 different aspects of conflict and battle within the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. What is your ranking? Please let me know in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave. Leave haxed out. Or actually, some people may be saying that. Leave out haxed. There we go. Leave out hacks, as in O-U-T, haxed. H-A-X-E-D in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. You get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include the live reaction to the very next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, ad free variations of all my videos, and if you become a $25 patron, a $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I leave a link to my Ko-Fi down below where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, or any support at all is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dago the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Greyhound, Akids Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, King Sukuna, NMA, Real Rare, Paris Arnold, G Prosper, and Red Wolf 4765. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons, Steron, Sean, Sammy, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, and A+A. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 patrons, Autumn Mornings Lazo, and Fine. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members, Robbie Uchiha and Jay Warrior. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $10 patrons, Panda Goat, Metal Solid Crisis, Joaquin Munoz, and Joaquin Munoz, along with Idemokami. And I'd like to give a final gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.